Hi, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Rectified Podcast. Today, my guest is Fabio Zeppilli, founder of Bad Monkey. For those of you who don't know Bad Monkey, it's currently one of the largest manufacturers of popcorn in North America and is distributed over 30,000 points of sale, including Costco, Dollarama, Winners, Metro, Kushtar, and many more. Bad Monkey popcorn is also the official popcorn for Disney and Marvel. Fabio, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Sandy. I really appreciate it.
Fabio, let's start with a curious question first. Why is it called Bad Monkey? Is there a story behind the name?
Yeah, sometimes I'm a bit shy to tell the story, to be honest with you. So the company was started by me and my brothers, and when we were kids, I'm not shy to say it, we're always getting in trouble. And so my mother used to call us her little bad monkeys. So when we decided to come together as a family to work on the business, we're we may as well call it something, that's true to our nature. And honestly, it's kind of how we are. We're just we do things our way, and
Mhm.
and yeah, that's how we differentiate ourselves.
So you and your brother started Bad Monkey together. You're
Yeah.
together in
So
the
I
business.
was I used to be a lawyer, and my brother was in finance, and I had my
Oh,
two younger brothers involved as well. And then literally we decided to leave our stable normal jobs to make popcorn in my brother's condo. And so my poor mother almost had a heart attack when we told her. But she's like, hey, guess
I
what?
imagine.
That's it, right? All those years of school completely gone. But I think she was happy that we were working together, which is cool.
Mm,
And yeah, the results have been good. Not now she's happy. And she has free
yeah.
popcorn for life. So it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, being a lawyer is
Yeah.
the most stable thing that parents love. And
Yeah.
I can imagine what she went through during that period of time.
Yeah.
What made you think of popcorn? Like, we make popcorn at home,
Yeah.
why would we go and buy it in bags,
Yeah.
that are
No,
already made?
yeah, it's a good question. And it's a question I ask myself, even to this day. I'm why am I selling popcorn? But seriously, when we were kids, you know how I don't know if this is true, but every family I feel has maybe a snack that's kind of they're familiar with. And for us, we used to get together every Sunday and we'd watch movies and hang out with each other and stuff like that, even as we got older. And popcorn was always kind of a thing. We get as we got older, it was
Yeah.
beer and popcorn. When it was a kid,
Yeah.
we're juice and popcorn.
Yeah.
It was always popcorn. And so, at one point we were just thinking to ourselves, we're just chatting, and we were kind of not so happy with where we were in our careers. Not that we weren't a career necessarily, but just
Yeah.
professions themselves. And so all that came together. We're you know what? Imagine if we created almost the Red Bull of popcorn, right? So we looked right away. We're super curious, right? So we go on Google and we start looking at popcorn brands, and we found that so many of them were pretty much boring. There's wanting to be super healthy and white bags, and there was no there's no energy and spirit behind these brands. And so
Mm.
we said, oh, we could do a better job. And so this was on a Sunday, and I think I'd quit my job that Tuesday. So pretty
So
impulsive.
you didn't even keep your job and
No,
do this on the side until it picks up. No.
no, we're crazy. Honestly, it made no sense. It's funny. Actually, I gave a speech not too long ago to an MBA school.
Mm.
And they were worried because I'm everything you're supposed to do when you start a business, a business plan, forecast analysis. We didn't do any of that. We're just
Mm.
we feel we could do a better product. Let's just figure it out and see what happens. So I in my savings, I had about $5,000, and I did the math, and I'm okay, I could probably survive a few months with no salary. And I figured that's enough to maybe get going. And I'm a super hard worker. So for me, it's doing 100 hours a
Mm.
week. I'm cool with that. And so
Yeah.
then after a few months, we started making a bit of money. And then, so not a lot, obviously, but just enough for me to be able to buy some food to survive. And we just kept reinvesting in the business, and really
Mm.
just living super poor for 2 years. We had really no salary other than just rent, food, and that's it. No fun, no nothing like that. And then so yeah, one thing led to another, and here we are today. I know there's a there's a big gap there, but that's
Mhm.
that's the origin of how we started.
Yeah. Typical startup phase, where the founders are working, 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 and then they're
Well,
making no money. And that's the phase where you really need to stay there so that you go to the next level, or you'll just go back
yeah.
to a full-time job and disappear from
Oh no,
what you're doing.
I think it's the scariest phase too, because for us, we don't really come from uh, like a well-off background. So it's not like we had like family giving us money and like there's no like
Yeah.
safety net. But
Yeah.
in a way that helped us, like help fuel us forward. So we're like, we look behind us, there's like, there's nobody there. So it's like,
Yeah.
we gotta go forward and just make our own path.
Another question that I always like to ask, who bought from you who's not your family or friend at the beginning?
Okay, so long story short, the first client we had was like actually a huge client. Like, I don't know if you know Grand Prix. So we said, look, let's go big or go home. So we somehow like convinced them to allow us to sell our popcorn at the Grand Prix. And then they're like, can you
Oh,
guys accommodate this? And we're like, yeah, of course, it's not a problem. But it's really like afterwards we looked at each other, we're like, how are we gonna do this? Like
yeah.
we're like making popcorn literally in our kitchen. Like, so like at one point we had made so much popcorn, like the entire house had bags of popcorn. And so we didn't even know like where to store the popcorn. So then like there was this church across the street from where we lived. So we said to ourselves, there's probably a lot of space there. So I approached the priest and I said, listen, like if we offer like free popcorn for Sunday mass, could we store some popcorn in the church? And so he's like, yeah, I guess you could put some in the basement. It's cold down there. So we said, perfect. So we like loaded the entire church basement with like tons of popcorn. And then like after like a few weeks, he's like, listen, I need to speak to you. I'm like, is everything okay? He goes, yeah, it's just during the church services, it smells like caramel everywhere. like, like salt and butter and like all the different flavors. So he's like, I don't want to kick you out, but you're gonna have to find a new place to store your
Yeah.
popcorn. So we just kind of like our first client was a big one, and we had to kind of like pivot and adjust because it was a big
Yeah.
volume. Yeah.
But what did you do at the Grand Prix? Did you like make the popcorn there or you had all those bags
Mhm.
with you and sell it there?
Yeah, making popcorn live is really complicated because there's like
Yeah.
oil everywhere. It's like super, and there's like dangerous like elements to it as well. So for us, no, we pre-popped it and then we brought it to
Okay.
the event and we put it into like popcorn bags and we gave it to
Yeah.
people as they ordered.
Yeah, like small popcorn bags, not
Yeah.
like the bad monkey
No,
bags.
no, we
No.
didn't even have Bad Monkey bags at the time. Like, long story short, basically, like somebody had seen us at Grand Prix. It was a guy who owned one grocery store, and he goes, "Oh, you guys should really sell this in the grocery stores." He goes, "Well, I have a store. You could come to my store." So he's like, "Do you think you could figure out like how to make it into a bag where you could sell?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. That's we could figure that out."
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so then that was our first client. We found a local supplier to make the bags and we found a local designer to help us design it. Like it all happened super, super quick. And then we
Yeah.
placed a small order and that was kind of the origin of how we got into the first grocery store. He had seen us at Free.
Which store is it? Can we know?
Yeah, it's Metro. It's a Metro in the West
Oh,
Island of Montreal.
okay. So it's not a small store.
No,
It's actually like a big one.
yeah. So I guess maybe
Yeah.
we start with big stuff. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. That's actually nice. It's a different story than
Yeah.
brands like this. So basically you just got these all of a sudden big, events and opportunity like being in Metro from the beginning. So I guess you didn't have the chance to think about, how are you gonna brand this, which designer you're gonna do, or how am I gonna market, this popcorn? Like,
Yeah.
how did you go about that?
Yeah. To be honest with you, like I like a long time ago, I heard this like saying, and it just like kind of stuck with me. And so the saying goes, it's like facts tell and stories sell, right? And so for
Yes.
us, we're just
Yes.
like we can go on and on about like how we have good quality popcorn and the yield is better, but nobody cares about that. Like people want to hear the story, and it's not just a story about how we started the company, but it's a story of like what we want to accomplish. And like for us, like our snack is not like you're not going to go to your yoga class and then like have a bad monkey bag afterwards. Like our popcorn is designed for like the family who's watching a movie together. Maybe you're at a barbecue together. You're like at a party. So for us, we want to bring people together in a fun environment. And that's like the story of who we are, And I find that like we don't have a fancy marketing pitch and a plan and a strategy. We're just very honest about who we are. And
Yeah.
I think we understand our demographic more and more. And so we try to cater towards that. I don't know if that makes
Mm.
sense, but yeah.
Yeah. There are other popcorn brands in the market. I don't know if they existed when you started. I'm not really aware of the popcorn market to
That's
say
okay.
the least.
That's normal.
But
If you were, I'd be weird.
um, there are a lot of other brands. Like I see them in the
Yeah.
stores.
Yeah.
What is the message, or how do you say to people buy Bad Monkey and not the other one,
Yeah.
kind of thing?
Yeah. There's a few elements there. So, um, a lot of, and I won't name names. We'll talk in generalities here.
Yes.
So, a lot of companies, their focus really is providing like the healthiest popcorn possible. Okay. And it's like,
Mm,
there's no fat, no dairy, no this.
yeah.
And what ends up happening is there's no taste. That's the honest truth.
Mm,
It's very little taste, which is cool. That's fine. Not that our popcorn is unhealthy, but our primary concern is, does it taste good? That's the number one thing. Like, are you going to enjoy it when you're watching a movie? You work hard all day long
mm,
at work or all week at work, whatever. And this is your time with your family to enjoy like a nice caramel popcorn. We want to make that experience the best it could be. And we feel like most other companies, that's not their focus. So like for us, the experience of eating our popcorn is really, really critical. Another element is that we're extremely involved in the community where like we find that the competition is not at all. So like we are
mm,
like, I
yeah.
don't think any small company donates more to like children's hospitals, to community centers,
Mm,
to um they live at fall, which is like fundraisers. So we're
yes.
extremely involved in the community, and not because we want to get our name out there, just because it's part of our ethos is to like the community is what built our business. And so for me, I feel like if we could give back in some way, it makes sense. It's like
Mm,
almost like a symbiotic relationship, if you will.
yes.
You know? So
Yes.
the experience side is really different for us. The community side is very different from us. And
Mm,
then I think the storytelling side is very different from us too. I feel
yeah.
like a lot of brands are more like commodities. So they're just like good quality popcorn, but you don't even know who's behind it. Like my brothers and myself, we're super out there in the media. People know who we are. They can contact us. Like we are very, I think, in touch with our consumers.
Mm,
I think it translates into our social media where you see like really high levels of engagement, which I think is really cool.
yeah.
We have like a multi-billion-dollar competitor who has like millions of followers, but then nobody like comments on their posts. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Is there value in that? I don't think so.
Mm,
So
yeah. It's being hands-on founders and people knowing you.
yeah,
And usually in small businesses, this is what works. When people know who the founders are, they can, be involved in their story. They actually follow what's going on with the founders, and that's what people love. Are you super active on social media? Like, do you keep showing what's going on with you, telling your story, sort of like these founder influencers who keep showing up on social media?
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say
Mm,
I'm super present. Like our
mm,
company is present. We share what we do. We
yeah.
talk to consumers. But myself, I started doing on Instagram a little bit, but I want my product to speak for itself. Like I don't want to be the
Mm,
face of my business because if ever I'm removed from the business, let's say I decide to move on to another company or whatever happens,
yeah.
I feel extremely confident that the company would survive without me and it'd do super, super well.
Mm,
Um, but I find like when a lot of these influencer type people put themselves in front of their product, it's great. But then my worry is that when they leave, what's going to happen?
yeah.
Is the product going to continue? I don't
Mm.
know.
Yeah, we can also argue on the other side of the equation where these people are now famous and
Sure.
everybody follows them,
Yeah.
sort of,
Yeah.
and whatever they're going to launch next, it's going to be easier and everybody will,
Yeah.
buy from them a little
Yeah.
bit like the Kardashians,
Yeah.
they're super known and
Yeah.
everything they launch, people run to buy, not to that extent, but something like that on a smaller scale. So there's two sides of this equation, but also there's preference, like, do you want to be out there? There's a lot at stake. People will know you. There's no more personal, and nothing is personal, everything is out there, the whole thing. So it's a decision that founders need to make and tell story one way or another, whether with the product or with you as a person. So at the beginning, you mentioned that you and your brother started doing this, but as the business was growing, there are so many challenges that you may or may not know what to do at some point. Things are growing, it's really expanding. Did you have like mentors or consultants? Like, how did you do that? Or did you just try to figure out and learn from your mistake?
I would love to tell you that I had like mentors and guides.
Yeah.
So like, um, I'll get to that just in a second, but like to fast
Mhm.
forward to now is very different because now we're owned by a private equity firm. So
Okay.
I have tons of people who are
Hmm.
extremely knowledgeable, help, I can have feedback, so it's very
Yeah, yeah,
different.
yeah. It's different.
Yeah, yeah. But back in the day, I didn't know anybody who did what I was doing.
Hmm.
I don't have any relatives who were like entrepreneurs and things like that. So for me, it was just like I was learning as I went. And so I would go forward, I'd make a mistake. I would just like pivot and be like, okay. Like I think that my brother and I, one of our skills is pivoting. And I think that pivoting is extremely critical
Mm.
for any business. I don't care if it's
Yeah.
born or whatever. Like things are gonna happen that you don't foresee. And the question is like, are you gonna be able to adapt from those things or not? You know?
Mm.
Of course, like, like I could say all these things like, oh, don't give up. That's
Yes,
great,
yes.
but
The cliche things.
right, the cliche things, but the
Yeah.
pivoting thing is so critical. And people say, well, how do
Hmm.
you pivot? And like, well, there's a whole analysis to that, but yeah, that's maybe for later. But yeah,
Mm.
so no, the answer
Yeah.
to your question is we didn't have any guides, nothing.
It's a very interesting approach, but also it might be beneficial to have someone with you. So it was you and your brother. Last week I interviewed another brand. There are three people, also like a family,
Yeah.
three people from the same family who own the brand and things like that. So maybe it's always easier to have someone with you. At least you
Oh yeah.
can brainstorm and talk about things rather than being just by yourself. Or if you can afford it, obviously hire somebody who have the experience. They have done this before and they
Yeah.
can actually tell you what to do and save some money on those mistakes
Oh, I'm
probably.
a big proponent in that. And actually, the ironic thing is that, like, right now, my brother and I get contacted all the time for,
Mm,
consultation services and things like that. So we do consult other businesses as well.
yeah.
But I think you're absolutely right. It's super critical to have someone like help you. I mean,
Mm,
you literally can't do it alone. Some people would say, "Oh, I could build a business by myself." I'm like, there's no way you can do it. And
mm,
I was very lucky to have my brother by my side. I don't think everyone's as lucky as that,
yeah.
but family, I think, is probably the best to go to start a business with, I think.
I couldn't agree more. I've done family business before and I
Yeah.
know how it goes.
It's
Can
tough too
totally
though, right?
relate.
Like
It's not easy. There's a lot of
yeah,
issues and, you know,
for sure.
fighting a little bit, a
Yeah,
little bit.
no, it's
But
normal.
but it's nice. I mean, it's different rather than
Yeah.
being alone. Fabio, today, do you have a, since you said you're under a private equity firm, do you have like a big team helping you, or how many people, and how do you manage that?
Well, so we sold the majority of our business about, like, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago,
Mhm.
approximately, and part of the reason we did that was, like, my brother and I were wearing, like, 10 different hats. Like,
Mm,
I'm doing
yeah,
sales, accounting, I'm, like, in the warehouse, like so when the private equity firm came in, what they did was they put certain key people in roles. So, like, they put a CFO, a
yeah.
CEO, and so, like, they helped create a proper structure of the business that my brother and I didn't have. Not that we couldn't necessarily do it ourselves, but we didn't really have that operational, I guess, experience that they
Mm,
had, you know?
mm,
So it's been a great help having them guide us, if you will.
mhm. Okay, and what is your current role in the company?
Yeah. So whereas before I had like 10 different roles, now my only job is sales. So I focus
Okay.
on US and so I'm vice president of US and Canada. We
Hmm.
sell in a couple other countries as well, but it's not huge sales. So I take care of that as well. But just
Okay.
sales, that's all I do.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's great. And your brother is
Yeah, so he
also
focuses on
still.
marketing and e-commerce. So he's the guy in charge of our
Mm,
website,
mm,
anything online. Uh,
yeah.
our like I said, we sell tons of popcorn online as well.
Yeah.
And then now we have people in HR, we have an accountant, we have
It's more
auditors.
structured, let's say.
Yeah, yeah. Like sometimes like
Yeah.
people are working here. I go downstairs, I don't even know who they are. I'm just like, I was like, "Hello, do you work here?"
Yeah. Let's talk about e-com in
Sure.
this, like in your business.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see popcorn being sold online. Do you have like a large number of people who are buying online from your e-com website?
Oh yeah, no, we do like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month online. It's crazy. Like we did foresee that demand. And so like prior to COVID, we had a little bit of a demand and we are kind of slowly building it up. And then COVID
Hmm.
came and then like it skyrocketed. And we were worried that after COVID, the reopening, it would like slow down, but that it didn't happen, thankfully. And so we've been developing that. And what's cool is that like we're in over 30,000 locations, but there's still a lot of places where we're not. And so people who can maybe not get to a grocery store can order it online and receive it pretty quickly to their house.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what do you do to bring people to the website? Like, what do you do to keep people aware of, hey, listen, we have an e-com website. Maybe you can buy your popcorn from our website directly.
So we do Google ads and we do all the traditional things to promote a website, of course, but we spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year giving out free popcorn to like, churches, community centers, like across North America, in the US
Mm.
and Canada. Like for us, we really want to be where people are. And if we promote our brand, they'll find us online. So we don't have to
Yeah.
necessarily directly promote our website. If people want our services, they
Mm.
know who we are. And because they have this like connection to us almost,
Mm.
they seek us out.
Yeah. So you're mainly focused on increasing your brand awareness. So you're everywhere, even you're giving away popcorn for free.
Yeah. What?
You just want the maximum number of people to know about you, know that you exist,
Mhm.
even try the popcorn and see, oh my God, it tastes so good. Or do they like it? Do they not like it? And then they will go find you
Well,
somewhere.
you said it. You said a word that I love. Try. So for us, we
Mm.
have an expression. It's like once they try it, they buy it. And like I really believe like we have a really good tasting popcorn, which is much better than the competition. So it's like once you try our popcorn, you're like, yeah, this is pretty good. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some more for sure.
Yeah. In the food industry, testing it out, I think it's
Yeah.
very, very like important. And people would just like, oh my God, this tastes so good. And they're gonna go and look for it, even if it's not directly available around them in the stores. They're gonna go and buy it online and try to find it somewhere. I do that. I think that other people do that too.
Well, that's an interesting thing about our brand too, is that like popcorn traditionally is an impulse buy. So
Mm.
you don't usually like write a list of things you need at the grocery store and you put popcorn on it. Like you happen to be there.
Yeah.
But what we found is that people will seek out our product, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Not everywhere, of course, but in a lot of places. So
Mhm.
I don't know if we're on a lot of grocery lists, but I guess maybe we seem to be.
Yeah. I mean, you know your numbers, you know how
Yeah,
much you're selling. So
yeah,
so you know what's going on really in the market. The way I imagine the persona who's buying from you, this is just something that I imagined when I
sure.
was checking out the product. The
Yeah,
bags are very big.
yeah,
And if people are buying it in like boxes with all these flavors
yeah,
online from you, it
yeah,
means that they have either a lot of kids and their friends are coming and it's like a big family. You know, this is what I imagined because it's not small popcorn bags, it's actually
huge.
big bags.
Yeah,
And people can like fill bowls, very big bowls, and like eat it in
yeah,
front of the TV.
yeah,
So is that really it? Or
yeah. Well, like
just
so 68% of our clientele are women between the ages of 28 and 38 with young
mm,
children. So that's like
mm,
the vast majority of our demographic.
yeah.
But like, and just to touch on something you just said there, where like our bags are very big. So I'm always comparing ourselves to our competitors, but like our bags literally look like they're filled to the top, about to burst. That's what we want. So it's
Mm,
like maybe we make a bit less profit for us, but like we're
yeah.
giving the consumer like a lot of popcorn. Whereas like a
Yes.
competitor, it's like
It's
half the
empty.
bags empty. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing with all that space? You know, like,
Yes, I know. I noticed the difference that the bad monkey is like filled.
yeah,
It's good. Yeah.
I don't
And
even
the
know how
other
to
was,
expose you.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you do, but it's
Well,
working.
yeah.
Fabio, we're approaching the end of this episode, and I usually like to ask a series of 3 questions. You can answer them the quickest way possible. Are you ready?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
How would your family or friends describe what you do for a living?
I'm like Willy Wonka. I that's basically it. Like I'm a popcorn guy. Everywhere, at any family event I go to, they know I'm there because it smells like caramel or chocolate or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but they would probably describe me as a hardworking popcorn guy.
What is the one thing your product and what you do did for someone, something nice that you didn't expect?
Yeah. That's a good question. Like, I don't want to be too like sappy about this, but like we provide our popcorn to like a lot of children's hospitals who are going
Mm,
through like a lot of difficult things in their lives. And so when they get like a cute little bag of popcorn with like a monkey on it and it just makes their day a bit happier, I think that
mm,
matters.
mm. Yeah, that's very nice. Last question. Is there a book that changed your life that you would recommend to our audience?
A book that changed my life.
Or something that's like you
Yeah.
read it and you had this aha moment?
I think Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Principles for Life was really interesting. Yeah.
Mm,
I don't know if you're familiar with that book at all,
yeah. I
but
didn't read it,
that
but
was the most
yeah.
recent book.
Mm. All
Yeah, I
right.
know he's a bit of
Well,
a controversial character.
yes. Yeah, but I mean, if it did something for you, that's really good. We're gonna recommend it to the audience and link to it in the description. Um, Fabio, tell us where they can find Bad Monkey once again, and whether they're in US or in Canada, where they can find these
Yeah.
popcorns and how they can try it.
So we're obviously in a lot of grocery stores, but I strongly recommend everyone visit our website at www.badmonkeypopcorn.com, and we deliver to all of North America, like literally coast to coast. And
Hmm.
any type of treat you want is available on our website. So, and if something's not there that you would like, contact me directly. I'll make sure you get it.
Perfect. That's great. So we're
Yeah.
going to link to that too in the description of this
Cool.
podcast. Thank you, Fabio, for being a guest on my podcast. And to all the listeners, I'll be back next week with a new episode.